Hi friend, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, hi, my name's Armando and this is uenosTarot. Here on my channel, I do love to do pick a card readings, and for the most part is more of messages that is trying to be channeled to you by spirit more than predictions. But again, if things resonate and if you know the trajectory of your timeline, this is something that can definitely put your things or your situation into high gear to get to your desired destination. So for today, I do have a fun reading. This is gonna be one of my favorite ones so far, and this is how your person sees you. So in honor of Valentine's Day, which is around the corner, I did wanted to, or actually by the time I post this, it might be Valentine's Day, but I did want to post a video of how your person sees you. So this could be your current either wife or husband or in between, your current boyfriend or girlfriend, or again in between your relationship, or it could be your crush as well. So this is pretty much who you are interested in romantically, of course, and then how this person views you. So we do have 4 piles before us. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, and pile number 4. So go ahead and pause this video if you need to. Choose a pile that resonates with you most. And once you're ready, let's get started with group number 1. Hey there, group number 1. So this is your pile for today. So let's first start off with your archetype. And for y'all, you guys receive the unseen. I love how it looks, by the way. Looks really cool. And then we also have a spirit animal card. And for you, we have the eagle. And let me actually lower it. And then I do have an advice card, which I'll explain how I will be reading it or tying it in with the reading in just a few. And then for tarot, we have the King of Pentacles. We have the Page of Swords. We have the Knight of Pentacles. And then we also have, and I hope it's focused enough, we have the Tower. We have the 8 of Pentacles. And then lastly, we do have the 3 of Swords. So overall, the energies that's coming out through this pile is pretty resilient. That's definitely the message that I'm getting. That's the theme that's definitely surfacing and wanting to be channeled to you. So overall, your person does see you as someone who is resilient. They see you as someone who has overcame so much, and they don't necessarily view you in a way of like through pity. They don't have any pity for you. Rather, they respect how much obstacles you're able to I guess experience, but then overcome so confidently and so patiently. And I think that's something that's very commendable. So starting with these 3 cards, or actually the 2 cards first. First, the unseen. The unseen is all about having your spirit team around you, and people can definitely, or this person definitely can recognize how you are very blessed, how you have your spirit team protecting you, how karma is always working on your favor. Actually, instead of saying always, is working in your favor. Currently, you are very blessed. Again, they can recognize that you have a lot of divine energy. You're very spiritual, whether you resonate with that or not. But that's definitely how your person sees you. And I think one thing that we have to remember is that the way we view ourselves is always different and kind of not as outstanding as to how other people see us. So it's definitely important to keep that in mind. But yeah, they definitely see you as someone who's very divine, very protected spiritually, and overall receiving a lot of abundance. With the eagle card, for me, what I get the sense is that you are almost like a star, like a magnet. Like regardless of what you encounter, regardless of what you're doing, whether it's something big or something small, you naturally seem to have the spotlight on you, and you naturally just shine. And as you know, and I think it ties in well with this, like the unseen, you're just also very viewed. You just stand out a lot, and not in a cocky way. Rather, there's just a presence, a very like nice and like ethereal almost presence about you that's very magical and magnetic. And that's definitely the way they see you, and that's what they find attractive in you. And if you could recall someone who it's just very like what's the word? Just like almost enticing. Like you just wonder like, damn, how are they so like beautiful, and not necessarily in a physical or like appearance, but just like the essence of who they are and how they present themselves and how, their interests and who they really are and the essence of themselves manifest is just very graceful. And I think overall that's the energy that they perceive from you. And whether you don't believe that or not, like that is a truth of you. Again, if this resonates, and maybe you might be like, oh, well, that's not really, it doesn't really tie in. Well, definitely think about times in which the situation or this theme does apply to your life. Because I think a lot of times we don't give ourselves enough credit. So definitely think of moments where this may apply. And then with the tarot cards, starting with the right side, I hope that's the right side when I record. I also get the sense that you are in a journey of growth and healing. The Tower is all about situations kind of coming down or crumbling down, like it's just like an unexpected change, an unexpected hiccup, an unexpected disaster where it really requires for you to rebuild, and it requires you to kind of start all over, rebuild your foundation. And for the most part, it is the essence of change. And I think a lot of times we are so fearful of change and we're fearful of the unknown. But for you, again, like you are not resistant towards change. And I think that's what makes your person so attracted to you, because you are someone who is able to go with the punches. And I feel like people are so good to be within their comfort zone, but you just kind of take it head on, whether you recognize it or not. I think you're the type of person that adapts to it extremely well. And I think overall that's just very commendable, because no one likes change. Change is difficult, change is uncomfortable, but that's definitely the essence and the messages that is coming through with this tarot. With the Three of Swords, I also get the sense that you have worked on yourself a lot. I do get the sense that you have taken the time to really give yourself, like a moment to really recognize how you're feeling, what you're doing, kind of strategizing to think ahead and plan ahead to really align yourself with the highest version of yourself. And that's something that, it's again very commendable, but that's what your person finds very attractive to you. I think again, it's easy to be in comfort. It's easy just to have your tower built and never, have to rebuild, never have to go outside of your margins. But for you, that's not the case. You're someone who's able to, go with the punches, but also build the confidence to really reflect upon your past, reflect upon your shadow self, in order to evolve into the greatest version of yourself. And I think overall, like that's the theme that I'm getting so far with these cards. You're like someone who is very, again, divinely protected. You naturally shine and you're physically and spiritually strong. If there's obstacles that come into your path, you're not afraid to change of change. You're not afraid to be resilient and adapt and create new and evolve. And really, we're all evolving if we want to face it or not, whether it's just what was the word? I can't think of the word, but like either we age, we're evolving naturally, like we're aging, but whether we also have the choice though of evolving internally, like how do we want to think? How do we want to, build better habits? And overall, that's the essence that I'm getting from you. And you're just really aware of your ego, aware of your emotions, knowing that you're not your thoughts, knowing that you're not your emotions, and you know that they will come and go. And overall, that's really something that your person really finds very attractive in you, and they find a lot of comfort in that with you as well. With the Eight of Cups, I do get the sense that you're someone who kind of recognize that maybe the past, whether what you were doing then, although you enjoyed it and it was what felt right at the moment, I feel like now you really have gotten your ish together. Like now you're getting your stuff together, you know what to prioritize. That for the most part, I don't think money is something that you truly value in your life. Like we all have different values. Some people want friends, some people want travel, some people just want a home, some people just pursue income and power. But for you are just someone who is currently working towards establishing financial wealth. And that takes a lot of discipline, and that's also what your partner finds very attractive about you or your person. So that's something they definitely can recognize that you're working hard towards achieving, and it shows that you have a lot of dedication, and it shows that there's a lot of progress being made as well. So that's something that definitely attracts them about you. Moving on to the left side now. For the most part, again, you're someone who either already is pretty financially stable or comfortable or wealthy. If not, you're definitely someone who gives off that presence. You're someone who definitely gives off a very rich and luxurious appearance. You just come off as someone who's very well off. And I think for the most part, it doesn't matter how much money you do have. The way we compose ourselves, the way we style ourselves can speak a lot louder than someone who has money. And I think in that essence, it's kind of like money can buy you class. Not saying that you don't have money, not saying that you're like the classiest of persons or you're very like, snobby, but there's just like an essence, a very refined, a very luxurious, elegant appearance that comes off from you. Like that's what you give off, and it's very attractive to them. There's someone if they were with you, they would be like, damn, like this person is super attractive. Like I am, I got lucky, one, with the character and attributes that you do have, but also your physical appearance is something that's kind of like a cherry on top. So that's something that they definitely see within you. You're just someone who's very luxurious, very on point, very polished, very put together. And then with these last two cards, one thing I do can see is the fact that you are someone who's also very free spirited, and I think it kind of ties in very well with this deck of cards right here. Is like, regardless of what obstacles or situations or hurdle you come across, it doesn't hold you back. You're still a free spirit individual who's grateful to roam the earth another day, who's grateful to be able to achieve more things, who is grateful to just explore life and be very curious. And it kind of gives me almost like either you might be a Sagittarius or an Aquarius, possibly like someone who's very independent and just has, a lot of free spiritedness energy, which is very attractive. And usually people who are very free spirited are also very, social. They're almost like a butterfly or a hummingbird just roaming through life. And if we think of a hummingbird or a butterfly roaming through life, we always think, wow, they're so beautiful. It's so precious. And I think that's the energy that you come off and give off. With the Knight of Pentacles, I think that definitely reinforces the fact that you're definitely gonna be, I think, very well off, or either a lot wealthier than your parents or family members, close relatives. It shows that you're definitely breaking some type of intergenerational pattern. But yeah, it shows that you're committed. It shows that you are into having discipline and having a routine and sticking to it and following it, and overall, like, not necessarily seeing all of your financial abundance being present quite yet, but that if sooner than later you will be very well off, and your person sees you and sees that's coming. And maybe that's something that you don't necessarily see, but that's something that they know that's going to come for you in the future, and they're definitely attracted to you. They're definitely not pursuing you for these things. They definitely just recognize and admire and respect your beauty, but they know that this is also going to come for you, and they're proud of you. Like, it's like even if it's like a crush, even though if you guys are not in a relationship quite yet, that's something that they recognize within you, that they know that you're gonna achieve a lot of greatness that you may not see within yourself, which I think is very beautiful, is very complimentary. And I think overall that is something that is very attractive in my opinion. And then lastly, I also have this card. This is usually what I use for advice cards, but I kind of want to use this as maybe like the mantra that they would imagine you saying that aligns with you most. So again, if they were to think of you, and let's say they were talking to you to another person, they would say that you're a type of person that doesn't have fear. Oh, this card says, I don't have to fear my fear. I can use it as a way to get closer to love. And I think that's how they would describe you to a friend. They would describe you to, like someone they're close with to like explain and define you. You're someone who doesn't allow fear to take over. You're someone who can recognize fear, but you're also someone that can recognize the fact that you can use that energy and shift it into something more greater, which is very admirable, because I think sometimes we can get caught up within our own thoughts and just spiral into fear. But no, you transform that, you admit that, and I think overall it aligns perfectly with what we talked about, because you are someone who is willing to let go of things, is willing to not ruminate and just move forward, and I think that's the best remedy to when we're at any time when we're feeling either overwhelmed or encountering any obstacles. And then lastly, I do want to pull a crystal from my pouch. I don't know what is that little glare here. Anyways, let me choose a chakra crystal, and pretty much this is like your, I guess, your strength. This is what is more easily identified from you. So we got, I always forget the colors, I'll be honest. The blue one is, your throat chakra. Yeah, so you're definitely someone who's very expressive. You're someone who they see as very expressive, who's very big on communicating, who is very sound within themselves and what they have to say, will think and say. And overall, that's definitely one of the things that they're most attractive of you, is the way you talk, what you talk about, how you respond to people, how do you respond to yourself in certain situations. And maybe there's a lot of self-love that is being omitted by you, either to you or yourself to others. And I think that's something very beautiful. We all know, we've all been with a person maybe that they're very, maybe crude, a little bit of a jerko, or a female jerk, whatever it may be. But with this crystal, it's definitely someone that that's what they find attractive of you, is that you're very loving with your words. The tone of your voice is very soothing, and that's definitely one of the attributes that they find most attractive to you. So that's all I have for you, group number one. I really hope you enjoyed this pile. I honestly loved it. It was so cute and romantic. But if you like this video, make sure to definitely give it a thumbs up, and if you are inclined to do so, definitely subscribe. If it resonated, please let me know down below. I would love to know. And with that, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey, group number two. So this is your reading. So again, I would like for you to think of your person. Either you're in a relationship, either you're married, either you have a crush, or you recognize that someone's interested in you. So I definitely want you to keep them in mind. This is how they perceive you. And we're honoring the month of February, with Valentine's being either today or around the corner, depending on when I post this video. So let's get started with your reading. For your animal spirit card, we do have the panther, which I love panthers. I identify them as my spirit animals. So that is it, and I focused it for you. And then we have your archetype. The one that came up was the storm. And I feel like this is a little bit blurry. There we go. And then we have an advice card, which I will read and explain how I guess utilize it in this reading in a bit. And then for your tarot cards, we have the Page of Pentacles, we have the Four of Wands, we have the Death, and we have the Page of Swords, we have the Seven of Swords, and then we also have the Two of Wands. So with the starting with the panther and the storm card, you may be a fire sign. You may have some fire placements that you definitely identify with, so that could be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. But overall, with the panther, what I feel is more about is like a chaotic good. For the most part, when the spirit animal comes off, it's something about the panther knowing that you're capable of achieving more. You're definitely the way your person sees you is you're very feisty. You have a lot of fiery energy, which as a fellow Sagittarius, hello, I love my fire signs. What's good? And I definitely identify as someone who's very feisty as well. But for the most part, it's all about not holding back, not allowing to go and let your potential go to waste. And you're someone who's definitely the way your person sees you is that you're someone who definitely knows how to tap into their greatest potential. And there may be times, and I think it actually ties in perfectly with the storm, is that there may be times where you might be, content, but there may be a point where you have to step it up again. And once you feel elevated, once you feel like you flatline again or have been more stagnant, you push yourself again and constantly evolved. If you were as tied or if you were inclined to pile number one, I would definitely look into that video and see anything if any of those messages resonate. The reason why is because the storm is pretty similar to the tower, and these two cards kind of give the essence of pile number one. So again, if you're interested, definitely take a look on that group's reading. But overall, what your partner admires or is attracted of you is that you really have a very strong and bold approach with life. I think a lot of times when obstacles come around, some people are big to just, be more of a be flight responsive, but for you, you're very fight. You're very big on letting there be turmoil, letting there be a struggle for some time, but when the dust clears, you will be at a better place. You will be more polished, you will be more stronger, and will have achieved more abundance. And overall, that's something that they find very attractive in you. That's something that they see within you. And I think that may be something that also intimidates them, but it's something that they also know it complements them, because they may be a little bit more hesitant to change. They might be a little bit more, reserved and a little bit more intimidated towards such a bold approach. But I think it's something that they also need, and that's something that also complements them. So that's why they find that attractive in you. And I think that's true. I think in this situation, to a degree, opposites do attract, because you guys can complement each other. And I think that's a big thing in either friendships or romantic relationship, is let there be a complementary trait where you guys can help each other with each other's different strengths that are unique and tailored to y'all. So that's definitely what your partner thinks of you and how they see you. With the storm, again, it kind of ties in and really gives the theme of the tower. So it's all about change. It's all about, drastic and unforeseen change that occur that may make you feel as if all things, have come to an end, that there's no more hope. It is very uncomfortable, but again, you're definitely someone who is bold. You're definitely someone who, when they're down, it's almost when you guys kick it into high gear, and that's what your person admires from you. You're someone who is very resilient as well, and it almost gives like Phoenix vibes, like rising from the ashes. That's definitely you, and you come out thriving. Thriving more because you are someone who is very big and bold and is not afraid of facing it head on. I think that's something that's I definitely find that attractive, mainly because I might be biased, and that might be more of my personal traits as well. It's definitely the messages are definitely resonating. But yeah, moving on with tarot. On the right side over here, for the most part, I do see that there's a lot of balance within you, and that's something that I personally admire, and again, your partner admires as well, your person. The reason why is because sometimes balance is hard to achieve, but you're definitely someone that knows when it's time to celebrate and when it's time to be responsible, when it's time to be a little bit more restricted with yourself, when to be a little bit more disciplined. But again, like this card gives like more uptight vibes, but because of the juxtapose between both, it complements you very well, and it really highlights who you are, because you're able to you're not fixed, you're not too I guess too free spirited, too much of a celebratory person where you're just kind of living for a good time, not a long time. No, like you have a very good balance of knowing how to finance or budget your finances, how to like everything, just not overconsume. You just know your limits, but you also know when it's time to put this card down and have some fun. And I think that's very commendable, because again, I think people are either one or the other, but to have a really nice happy middle is really hard to accomplish, or really hard to balance. So overall, that's what your person finds very attractive to you. There's someone that see you as someone who's very fun and exciting and outgoing, but someone who could also be very reserved and at home and be appropriate at the right time. So that definitely provides a lot of comfort to them because they know that you are someone who's committed to stay. And you're not just out for the hoopla, and you're not just someone who will never settle down. No, you have both attributes where you could be like almost hubby or wifey material or anything in between. You're just someone who is worth, I guess, marrying, because again, there's like a lot of long-term comfort that does come with this relationship where it will be secure. They know it will be secured, but they also know that it will be a lot of fun as well along the way. So that's something definitely that's very attractive that I can see just by such a great balance, but also what your partner finds very attractive with you. And then with the death card, I think it ties in really well with these two cards. I almost want to say like it's like the bridge between these two cards. The death card is all about renewal. I believe this one's all about Scorpio energy. So if you have some Scorpio placements, or maybe if your partner has some Scorpio placements, that's definitely what they find attractive about you, is the fact that you're able to rebirth to new ideas, new concepts. You're not really fixed in your own ways. Again, it kind of ties in very well. Like, you're someone who is able to acknowledge change and recognize when something's not working, and you're honest about it, and you're not afraid, to let a part of you die if you can honestly, genuinely recognize that it's not serving you. And that's something that they find that very attractive, because that would make them easier. It makes it easier for them to communicate things to you, because again, you're not stubborn, you're not fixed, you're open to having brighter days, as you can see in the very background, which I like to highlight that more than death. I think death can sometimes be a little bit intimidating to people, but again, there's always a sunrise around the corner. Once every night, the next morning will come around, and that's a new day. And I think overall, that's what your person finds within you. That's what they find attractive. Is the fact that if there is a storm, if there is a lot of like chaotic energy that's surrounding you, you're able to be grounded, and you're also able to either let go and offer no resistance, or stay firm when it's needed. And I think that's something that's very attractive, because it shows a lot of security. And then with these two on the left, or these three on the left side, what I'm getting the fact is that, again, this card came out for group number 1. So again, if you do want to check out that group, definitely go ahead and do so. I think to some degree, some messages are aligning, or they parallel with one another. So definitely take a look if you were inclined to that one pile, the first pile. But I also get the sense that you are a free spirit. Like, you are someone who is very like, while you may be very big on having discipline, but also knowing when to have fun, there's just a very free-spirited energy throughout the day, and throughout, both, I guess, facets or avenues. And I think the reason why is because you're someone who knows how to have fun along the way, and that's very important. You know how to have, a smile on your face. You know how to be optimistic, which again, you might be like, there may be some heavy Sagittarius placements. But yeah, that's definitely the vibe that I'm getting. And that's something that they definitely find attractive within you. And I think that's, for the most part, safe to say. Who wouldn't find someone who has good energy attractive? Like, that's something that's sometimes rare. I think sometimes people have their ego, their pride, and they just want to be and present themselves as being like cooler. But again, once you try to be cool, quote unquote, and I think, people who even say that's kind of like, it's just like a turn off. Like, me saying that, I'm like, that's cringy. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like, if people think they're all that, in a bag of chips, is like, relax, like, really relax. You're the standards and the I guess idea that you're trying to pursue is not who you are authentically. But for you, you're someone who's just, you don't care about other people's opinions. And I think that's the best thing to do, is like, you only have a high regard for yourself, or you have a high regard for yourself, and that's the only perception that matters. It doesn't matter how other people see you. And I think that's something what your partner finds very attractive about you. Tying in with that, I think you're also someone who doesn't care about letting go of situations that don't serve you. You're not afraid to disregard people's negative opinions about you, because really no one's perfect. So who are others to judge? That's really just a mere reflection about how they see themselves, or an insecurity, or insufficiency about themselves. So that's something that you definitely do You really don't care about what people say, and you're not scared to walk away. And I think that's definitely something that your partner finds, or your person finds, very attractive about you, because overall it does just give a lot of confidence, and that's something that's it's like confidence in a very humble way. And I think that's the most attractive, because I feel like some people are arrogantly confident, but for you it's very humbled. And then lastly, we do have the Two of Wands. And with the Two of Wands, it shows that in general you do have infinite potential, and that's something that your partner sees within you. And they see that you're someone who's not afraid of going outside their comfort zone, and you're not someone who, and again, to me that sounds very like almost like Leo energy, possibly Sagittarius energy, just being bold and not being afraid of limitations, not afraid of putting themselves out there. And again, that's something that's very attractive, because they find security within you through those attributes, and they also become inspired by your hard work and your dedication to evolve, which pushes them, because that does rub off. But that's definitely what they find attractive of you for the most part. That is it for the tarot. Looking at this advice card, the way I'm looking at this card is, this is how they would explain or define you to other people. So if they're talking to you or about you to their friends, maybe their parents or siblings, this is how, or the essence of what they would tell them about you. So this card says, and let me focus it. It says, I let my inner sense of quiet multiply each day as I strengthen my faith and the love of the universe. And I think that's very beautiful, and it ties in perfectly with this group, because that there's a lot of ups and downs, but you ultimately let yourself be grounded throughout that process, and you allow yourself to really find some quietness within yourself when there's so much going on, when it's so easy to overthink, and just allow your power to love and appreciate all that the universe has to offer to you, and practice gratitude. Ultimately, that makes you stronger, and it makes you more of a divine being. And overall, that's what your person definitely finds the most attractive, one of the most attractive attributes of yourself, which I think is very, very it's heartwarming, which I think is very beautiful. Lastly, we do have this crystal pouch, and inside I do have the chakra crystals, all of them. So this is pretty much the one that they find the most attractive from you. So the one that came up for your group, it fell. Excuse me, it fell on the floor. So we got the third eye crystal. So yeah, they definitely recognize how you are very, very in tune with your intuition. You're very intuitive. You're very connected with your conscious and subconscious mind. You're quote unquote woke. So overall, they just know that you definitely have a lot of positivity. You know that the universe is working in your favor, regardless of how hard things get, regardless of how much pressure you're put under. Ultimately, you are shining as this diamond, and that's something that's how they see you, and they definitely admire you. And honestly, if this were to ever end in the future, which is not what I'm projecting, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that they know that you're a catch. They know that you're a diamond, and they know that there's so much strength and power and love within you that they are, grateful to have in their life. So that's all I have for you, group number 2. I hope this resonated. I think this was very powerful. I feel like the first deck was a little bit more romantic, the pile number 1, but this one's a lot more bold. It's a lot more just more feisty and fiery, which I personally find attractive. That's what I usually gravitate towards more. But yeah, that's all I have for you. If it resonated, please give it a thumbs up. If you are inclined to do so, also make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. And also, if this really resonated, I really want you to comment down below and just let me know, maybe interact with each other to see how pile number 2 pickers, how it resonated to y'all. So thank you so much. I'll see you on my next video. Bye. Hey there, group number 3. So this is your reading. These are the messages that are being channeled to you. And today's theme is how your person sees or thinks of you or is attractive or finds attractive in you. So I definitely want to I want to encourage you to have your person in mind, whether that's someone you're married to, maybe that's someone you're already in a relationship with, or maybe it could be a crush who you are currently trying or in the attempts to pursue. So with that, let's get started with your reading. So for your archetype, we do have the prayer card that came up, and let me focus that really quickly. There we go. And then we also have the spirit animal card for y'all that came out as the lamb, which is super cute, and I think it looks really weird in camera on that design, but it's okay. We do have this advice card that I pulled out, which I'll explain in a bit. And then moving on to your tarot, we do have the 3 of Wands. We have the Temperance. We have the Magician. And we have, and then we have on this side, we have the Strength card. We have the 5 of Pentacles. And we have the 10 of Pentacles as well. So starting off with the Lamb and the prayer, the Lamb is a ground sign, so you may have some earth placements within your 3 major arcana or your 3 big ones. So that's something that definitely can relate to you. But overall, what the Lamb is all about is about being very at peace with yourself, having a great sense of patience, being someone who can listen, stay and pause and take, a moment to just allow and recognize the earth to pass and be through them and, exist through them, and then receive. For the most part, it does give a lot of a lot of patient energy. And that's really what your partner finds attractive in you, is the fact that you're someone who's very, again, grounded. You're very down to earth. They have a lot of peace when you're around them. The energy that you emit is what they, is one of the things that they gravitate towards most, because you are someone who's just is able to soothe them when all is, can be chaotic around the world. You're someone who's just able to, be still, be at peace with yourself. And that's something that's very rare, I think, nowadays, because we're so stimulated, we're prone to overthink. But that's definitely one of your strengths, and I think it ties in perfectly actually with the prayer card, because the prayer card ultimately is the same energy as the fact that we are able and are in need of meditation or prayer, or just staying still, or just sitting down and taking a moment to pause and recognize what we're thinking about. And I think, although that may be something that's very uncomfortable to some of us, again, because we are so overly stimulated, whether that's through our phones, our computers, apps, video games, social media, whatever it may be, we're always so stimulated. But overall, you just you give off the sense that you're able to disconnect, or you're able to give yourself some time to really ground yourself and just be silent. And I think that's something that's very difficult. And I know, just, reflecting upon myself, I know it's very hard for me to stay very still and just be very silent and be present with my thoughts, as it is with many people. But I feel like overall, that's one of your greater strengths, and that's something that they definitely find attractive in you. And I think overall, these 2 cards just align so perfectly, because ultimately they give the same theme. For the most part, though, you are someone who's very blessed as well. You are someone who receives because you allow the universe to work in your favor. You allow and give the universe time. You don't chase time. You don't, fuss through time to get to your goals, or receive your desired outcomes. No, you are present in the moment. You are able to step outside, the thoughts and the thought patterns that run through your head, and you're able to look at the big picture, which is very important, because I think it's so easy for us to be so narrow-minded on a certain circumstance that we forget that it's just a moment in time, and it too shall pass, and we'll have more, greater opportunities and events happening that have either happened in the past or will continue to come forward. And overall, because you have that groundedness, that sense of gratitude, you're able to receive more blessings. And that's something that your partner definitely finds more attractive within you. And even the way I'm communicating and talking through this pile, I feel like it's a lot more calm. I feel like the first two were a lot more, I would say like maybe like a chaotic good. But yeah, this pile so far, there's just a lot of peace that I'm getting through. So I definitely know that that's something that is who you are. And that's definitely what your partner finds very attractive to you. It's very soothing to them and also to me. So thank you for watching. Thank you for your presence, because I feel like sometimes is needed, especially for someone who is a fire energy like myself. Moving on to the right side of the tarot decks over here, I do get the sense that overall you're a very strong person, whether you want to believe it or not. And again, strength comes out and manifests in different ways. I think overall your approach is to have more of a gentle and firm approach, which would make sense. So maybe you might be a Taurus, maybe you might be a Capricorn, which are very, stern, very dedicated, I get signs, but overall you do have a lot of strength. And this one specifically more Leo, so maybe you may have some Leo placements, or you might have some Leo attributes where you may come off as a Leo. But overall, again, you do have a lot of strength. I think for you, it's in a very secured manner. I think sometimes, let's say fire signs, they can be a little bit more feisty, but for you it comes off more grounded and more sure about yourself. So you're just overall not fazed by circumstances, by barriers. You just go with the flow. You just recognize them as life situations, and because of that you are able to bring so much abundance and overall just have a lot of strength. And that's something that your partner definitely, or your person, finds very attractive within you. With the Five of Pentacles, what I'm getting is that you're someone who doesn't lose hope. Like regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what you are experiencing, whether it's fun or not so fun, like regardless, you just have a lot of hope. That's definitely it's just like a lot of what's the word, like just very, in Spanish it's like tranquilo, which means like very like relax. You're just very calm, you're very collected, and overall that's the energy that I'm receiving. But yeah, the fact that you're not able to easily give up hope and faith and stay persistent is one of the qualities that your partner definitely finds attractive. And overall, either you already have a lot of financial abundance, or they can recognize that you're someone who's definitely going to build a legacy. You're definitely someone who's going to build a lot of financial wealth for themselves, but also to share with the people around them. And that's kind of something that they are very attracted to, because I think for the most part, maybe your person might be someone who might be a little bit more traditional, which I definitely respect. I think we'll have to respect what preferences we have within our relationships, because I feel like there's also a lot of social norms that people unfortunately just follow just to fit in. But I think your partner is someone who's more into the traditions, and they definitely can see them growing old with you. They definitely can see that they know that you're going to be someone who's going to have, again, a lot of longevity in regards to success and security. And it's very promising, because again, if someone's a little bit more flaky, if someone who is just about only being around their friends, if someone's just about maybe spending too much money, maybe going out too much and not having so much security and not being grounded, that might not be, again, the most promising partner, because you don't know if they have the same interests as you. But for you, I think your partner definitely sees a lot of what they want in you, and it's a lot of like, I can see like a lot of long-term, I can see a successful long-term relationship that can be I guess accomplished between you and your person. That's definitely something that they see with you. Moving on to the left side of the tarot here, let me see what the message is. Yeah, again, it's just like a lot of balance, a lot of grounded energy, but you're also very powerful, but in such a very subtle way. I think definitely people would maybe underestimate by first glance or first impressions, which again, it does not matter. I don't think, we should be worried about how people perceive us, but overall I think you are just someone who ceases to amaze. There's just so much within you, and I think they definitely recognize that you are very connected to the infinite creative potential, a being that exists within all of us, but you're definitely someone who's connected to it, and that's something that they find very attractive because you are just so, like, there's like an essence of you that's so magical, and it's just very attractive. And I definitely can see how what they see, of you, and I can concur and confirm that you are very special, and there's a lot of unique traits to you that are very attractive. But that's definitely something of how they see you. Overall, there's just like a lot of power that you do hold, that regardless of what you are putting yourself or involving yourself with, that you're just able to accomplish success and have a lot of luck on your side, and a lot of luck as far as like outcomes. With the Three of Wands, it definitely shows that you're someone who is not afraid of going outside their comfort zone, is not afraid to explore, is not afraid to remain hopeful and stay grounded throughout the process, because there's a lot of strength within you, like that. But definitely within your work, it shows. And overall, it's just very balanced with these cards as well. There's just like a sense of peace that exists within you that it feels like no one can tarnish. And I think sometimes that can be a little bit intimidated, and I think maybe that's what they can find intimidating, because maybe they're not as composed internally as you are. But overall, I do sense a lot of compassion from you, and understanding. I'm not sure those two are words, but you're just someone who can understand, and overall, that's what makes it a little bit more soothing, because they know that they can confide in you to express themselves. And maybe they're a little bit more over the place, maybe they're not as structured, but again, that's something that is their strength in comparison to you, where you have a lot more structure, a lot more like structure, which ultimately would be what complements them and what finds the qualities that they find attractive in you. Lastly, moving on with this advice card, the way I've been reading these cards is how they would describe you to other people. So for you, the card that came up is this one. And this one says, my greatest spiritual shifts don't come through force, they come through freedom. So again, my greatest spiritual shifts don't come through force, they come through freedom. And I think that ties in perfectly with prayer and the Lamb. Again, you're someone who's able to stay still. You're someone who's able to just be present in the moment and not let their overthinking mind, their ego mind, run them through scenarios of fear, worry, and shame. Like, no, you're able to separate yourself from those overwhelming thoughts, and overall just preserve and foster a lot of positive energy, and allow time to bring you the blessings that you are in alignment with when the time is appropriate. You let it come to you. You don't chase it, you don't force it. And I think overall that is it's the epitome of this card. Again, it says, my greatest spiritual shifts don't come through force, they come through freedom. And I think that does show that you do have a lot of freedom within yourself, because again, you're not caught up with the small voices that sometimes want to tarnish our happiness and be focused on the future or the past. No, you're fully present. And overall, that's how they would describe you to other people. Like, so that when they're talking to you or about you to their friends or family, that's how they would describe you. You're someone who's very patient. You're someone who's very free, very happy, very content and grateful. And you are very blessed, but you know that you allow time and the universe to bless you when the timing is right, because overall that's the best time to enjoy your blessing, but know that it's gonna stay there forever. So the harder it is to build, the longer it will be with you. It's meant, I guess the way I could say it easier is that good things don't come easy. And I think you can value that, you can appreciate that, and overall, that's what they find. One of the things that they find most attractive about you. Lastly, we do have these cards. This pouch with crystals inside, all the chakra crystals. So then this is going to be another thing that they find most attractive to you as far as like I guess attributes. I've been interesting to pull up the sacral chakra, but so far it has not come up. Nope, again it has not come up. So for you, this is all about the third eye. So again, they definitely recognize how you're very spiritual, you're very divine, you're very intuitive, and overall there's just a big connect with your conscious and subconscious mind. And if you haven't, if you're aware of like how the ego works, how our conscious and subconscious mind works, I definitely will encourage you to look into it, just to recognize how our ego and the daily thoughts can really tarnish our day and perception of how we view the world. And sometimes we have to really pause and think like, hey, why are we thinking that? Like, why are we walking around in this earth with such limited time, with such a negative belief about ourselves? But that's something that's the opposite of you. That's something that's the most impressive of you, is the fact that you can recognize those thoughts and know that they're not true, and build and live in the moment and be free and be present and really work with the universe and really design who you want to be and what you want to receive. So overall, that's all I have for you, group number 3. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and please make sure to pound that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. I will definitely love to know how it resonated, so please comment below. And for that, and with that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey there, group number 3. So for today's reading, I do have some messages communicated by Spirit to you. What we're doing today is how your person sees you. So I definitely want you to think about your partner, whether you're married, whether you're already in a relationship, or whether you're in the early stages of talking to someone. Maybe there's a crush. Overall, again, I just want you to keep them in mind, because this is how they perceive you. This is what they see within you, and this is what they find most attractive about you. So to begin, we are going to start with the spirit animal card for this pile. We have the stingray, which I'll place right there. We also have the seed for the archetypes, and I hope I'm saying that right. I usually say archive, but I know it's archive, so excuse my Spanish tongue. And then not lastly, we do have this advice card, which I'll explain how I'll interpret that in a short moment. For the tarot card, we do have the Sun. We do have the 3 of Cups. We have the Ace of Cups. And then we also have the Queen of Cups. We have the 5 of Cups. And we have the Pentacles. So you may have, starting off with this is obviously the stingray. So you may have some water placement, either Scorpio, Cancer, or Pisces that you identify with. I know I have a Cancer moon, so this pile might resonate. But pretty much with the stingray, what your partner or person feels or finds attractive within you is the fact that you're able to grow. You're capable of recognizing that maybe some things are not serving you any longer, but you're also willing to decide to, evolve, adopt new ways of thinking, new ways of acting, in order for you to, create the dream version of yourself, which is something that's very commendable. Overall, what I see is that your person currently sees you as someone who's finally tapping into, and maybe I shouldn't say finally because that may sound offensive, but someone who's, committing and is deciding to really live their life the way they want. You really are starting to find yourself. And overall, when someone is going through the transition, one, is a lot of fun. So definitely, if this is something that resonates, don't have, shame, like own it, be super confident. Is your moment for sure. But that's definitely something that they find attractive in you, is the fact that you're finding yourself. You're definitely standing out. You're becoming unafraid of what people think about you. And overall, I think we're all conscious of how others perceive us, which holds us back from being our authentic self. But again, you're definitely someone who is kind of breaking out of that mindset and just truly being their authentic selves, and is really manifesting into something very beautiful, which is what your partner or person finds attractive about you. With the seed card, the seed card, again, is all about growth. You're someone who definitely may have some, I guess, some conditions. Maybe you struggle with mental health, which is completely okay. Don't have no shame. We do not have to be perfect to be loved. So if this is something that definitely resonates, I would encourage you to, own it. And I think that's something I think your partner can recognize, or your person can recognize, is the fact that this is something that is true to you, and you're not afraid to be honest about it. You're not afraid to, be upfront about how you're feeling. I think a lot of times it's easy for individuals to suppress and to mask, but that's definitely not the case for you. So definitely that's something that they find very attractive to you. I think what spirit really also wants you to recognize is the fact that you, or not spirit, but the messages and what they find attractive about you is the fact that you're able to kind of be hard on yourself in a way where you can catch and be conscious of how you come off, how you, or what struggles you do have, but you're also willing to commit to improve. And I think that's something that's very commendable, because as we all know, it's very easy for us to be very prideful, be stuck in our own ways, because we don't want change. We don't want change. We're resistant to it. I think as a collective, it's more common for us to act that way, since that is our default. But for you, you're someone who can recognize, I think, what agitates you, but also work through it and be calm and surpass it, and allow, that thing to be something of the past, for you to evolve into something that, something more greater as far as who you are. With the right side over here, what I'm getting is that with the Queen of Cups, you're definitely someone who is very emotionally mature. There's a lot of wisdom that is being communicated through this deck. You're also someone who's very attractive because of that. They just find your sense of awareness, your sense of being conscious about who you are, very attractive. And I think you're someone who's very woke and very in tune with who you are, which is very important, because I think a lot of people do sometimes navigate an autopilot. But again, you're someone who is very aware. I do get the sense that you might be a little bit hard on yourself. But again, if that's something that is part of you, obviously it's okay. It's something for us to judge. But that's also something that they find attractive. Maybe your person is someone who likes to heal and likes to make people feel better, and that's an aspect about you where they would come in and reassure you and provide that love that sometimes maybe we can't offer ourselves. But again, that's completely normal. It's super common. Again, we don't have to be perfect to be loved, but that's ultimately something that they can recognize. But overall, you do have a lot of emotional maturity. If you catch yourself being hard on yourself, you're also able to, do the opposite, which means providing self-compassion to yourself. And overall, I think really what's actually coming to mind now is, because maybe you struggled in the past to be a little bit too hard on yourself, that in itself allowed you to embrace and adopt the aspect or the attribute of being, emotionally mature and being more self-compassionate and more self-loving and more patient. And I think overall that's a huge essence of who you are today, and that's ultimately what people find very attractive about you. With the Five of Cups, I do get the sense that you might be someone who needs their space, and you may be someone who, might require some time to regroup. But this kind of does give Cancer energy, someone who might need some time for themselves. But again, it's okay to request time. It's okay for us to preserve our own energy, to ask for some time. And I think that's what your partner finds very attractive about you, or your person. I'm sorry, I keep saying partner. But yeah, what your person finds attractive about you is the fact that you're able to be honest about when you need some time to yourself, for you to regroup, because ultimately I think you might have some, I guess, issues with being hard on yourself. But again, you're able to catch it, regroup yourself, and come back, a lot more loving and a lot more just wanting to show the best of yourself to your partner. And I think overall that's very respectable. But again, I think they definitely find it attractive and find you attractive regardless. The continued support is there and it's never absent. So just be mindful of that. If that's something that resonates, it's not something that you have to be ashamed of. It's not something that you have to hide away from others, to not showcase that part of you. Overall, this entire, everything here is who you are, and it's just a matter of embracing it. And I think that ties in very well with the Stingray. It's just about owning who you are for the good and bad. And again, we all have our good and bad, so definitely have or practice to let go of shame. But yeah, regardless, that's what your partner finds attractive about you. And then with the Nine of Pentacles, they also see that you're, regardless of you feeling this way, And again, emphasis on feeling, because the way we feel and think is not always the reality. But regardless, you're someone who's very successful. Regardless, you're someone who has that works very hard, and regardless, your actions and your wit, your strengths always naturally come through. And there is a lot of abundance that you receive, whether that's materialistic, financial, whatever it may be. You're just very blessed, and overall, you do come off as this very, independent, very secured individual, whether you're a male or female or anything in between. We accept it all. But yeah, that's ultimately what they like. Overall, your strengths outshine your weaknesses, and I don't want to say weaknesses, but your weaknesses. So in case this card did resonate, just know that this is a small attribute of who you are. This is one card out of, like, I don't know, 10 maybe. But overall, how you are perceived is someone who is just honest and just real, and that's really all I could say. I feel like a lot of times our society deems emotions as something that's weak or something inappropriate, or they just condemn it. But I think because you embrace it, you own it, and you're whether you're feeling up and down, you're not one to suppress when you're feeling negative. You're not one to try to evade those emotions. No, you feel them, and I think that's very important, because ultimately you're allowing yourself to be authentic, and I feel like the whole world can definitely learn from you. So that's something very beautiful. And that's how your partner sees you and definitely finds attractive in you. With the left side of the tarot cards over here, what I'm getting is the fact that you are also someone who is just very blessed. Like, there's just like a lot of good energy that's coming through, which I think, in comparison to this one, just ties in perfectly, because again, emotions vary. There's so many different emotions that I feel like, again, our society deems negative ones. Our society tries and does everything to evade having to feel and confront our emotions, and they do anything possible to evade it, for us to be distracted. But for you, you're someone who owns it. But in the opposite end, by allowing you to feel the bad, you're also able to feel the good times 100. And overall, you are someone who's like the life of the party. You're just someone who's very fun. And maybe if this is not something that you do, maybe you're not a partier, it doesn't mean you're not a good time. It doesn't mean that people being around you doesn't mean that they can't enjoy your presence. Like, people around you have a good time. Like, whether you guys are just going out for coffee, whether you guys are going for dinner, or maybe some drinks, whatever it may be, or literally partying, like, you just are a good time. And I think overall, that's the energy that you emit, and that's what makes them attracted to you, and that's why they gravitate towards you. But overall, they enjoy being around you. They enjoy having that good energy. And I feel like this is like one of my favorite cards for sure. Again, because it does emphasize the fact that it's like fun and celebration. But yeah, that's something that they definitely see within you, and they're definitely attractive. They're attracted to you because of this reason, one of many reasons. With the Ace of Cups, again, I do get the sense that there's just a lot of self-love, which I think ties in perfect with emotions and all. But this is all about having deep, profound love for yourself, through the greatest depths of your parts of you, which I think, again, ties in perfectly with this, because you're someone who's able to recognize all that you are, but also to give yourself compassion, give yourself love through each aspect of it, which makes you feel the things. It just exacerbates the ways you feel. So if you're feeling down, you're able to recognize it, really, dive into it, but then come out of it, which means you're able to go into a greater depth of it and feel it even more. But again, that's the only way you can overcome it and learn to deal with these emotions. And it just, again, makes you stronger. And as well, when you celebrate and have fun, like, your intention is to really have fun, is to let go, to not be worried about shame, to not be worried about fears and insecurities. No, you're just present, and you're there with the intention to have fun and celebrate. But overall, the Ace of Cups, you're definitely someone who loves themselves in and out. Like, you have, like, divine love is running through your conscious and subconscious mind, and that's something that they definitely find attracted within you, because I think it's so easy for people to be self-centered, to have maybe a lot of shadow work to do, but they get themselves involved in relationships. Maybe they're jumping from relationships to relationships, but for you, you're someone who already has found love within themselves. You're already someone who has unwavering love be preserved within you. And I think overall that's what your partner finds very attractive, because you're able to, it's just like a security that you have that complements this individual, because it provides a lot of security knowing that you're not someone who might be sneaky. You're just very, again, secure, and that brings security to them being in a relationship with you, or pursuing that. With the sun, again, this ties in with more good energy. It ties in with more good vibes. But I think what they think about you is that they know that you're on the right path. You're like walking on sunshine, and overall, they know that the world, all your spirit team, the universe is definitely here to protect you. They definitely approve of what you're doing. They're definitely on your team, and you're definitely on a path where you're very blessed. I think sometimes, we may be going through our hardships. Sometimes, we're going through our fun, but for you overall, I think right now you're in a moment where you're definitely shining. You're being yourself, you're being authentic, and you're receiving all these blessings, and you know that abundance is here, and you're deserving of it, and you accept it, and overall it just emits that energy, which is what makes them so gravitated towards you, which I think is very beautiful. And overall, I think this one and Pile 1 have had the most positive messages, but for sure so far this one has been my favorite, as far as how good, even by reading it, it makes me feel like the way the ideas that I'm and the messages that are being channeled, like I am also absorbing them only because they're so positive, and it makes me feel good. Like I feel content, like it feels nice. And then for this one, this is an advice card, and the way that I've been interpreting these is that this is how they would describe you to their friends, to their family. So this card says, I let an inner, oh wait, that's actually a mistake, that was from the last pile. Your card's right here. So it actually says, the more I attune my energy with appreciation, the more the universe will deliver, which I think ties in perfectly. Again, you're someone who is able to practice gratitude. You're someone who's able to, just embrace and own all that this life has to offer, the good and the bad. But overall, you're just someone who's very blessed, because you're able to practice gratitude through, challenging times, and just through day-to-day life. I think it's so easy for us to, exasperate, little hurdles, especially, or little obstacles, and catastrophize them even bigger. But for you, you're someone who's able to be very present, and through that you're just able to recognize the blessings you receive on a daily basis, which then provides more, and you receive more and more blessings. And just because I did expose y'all to this card, I do actually want to read it. So another way they would describe you to either their friends, family, or whoever it may be is this. It says, I let an inner sense of quiet multiply each day as I strengthen my faith in the love of the universe. So again, you're someone who's able to, take a moment to pause and just reflect upon how you're thinking, how you're feeling. And through that, you're able to, come out of it even stronger, and just build a lot more emotional intelligence and maturity, which overall just brings you more abundance through your day-to-day, which I think is definitely one of the greatest attributes of you, in which your partner finds, or person finds, most attractive. So with that, I will end it with this pouch. Inside I do have the chakra crystals. So this is how, or one of the qualities that your partner, or person, finds most attractive about you. So for y'all, you guys got the heart chakra. So again, yeah, definitely how I definitely get a lot of water, energy, but overall it does tie in with your emotional maturity and intelligence, and how you're able to, one, provide love to yourself, and be, just practice self-love, self-compassion, and just be very peaceful. And because of that, you're able to provide that to others, and overall you just walk around and emit that energy. You're just like a walking, breath of fresh air, which is what your partner finds very attractive about you. So that's all I have for you, group number 4. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I feel like this was the longest reading compared to the other 3, so you're welcome. If you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If these things resonated, please give a pound to that subscribe button and comment down below. I would definitely love to know how it resonated. With that, I leave you guys with a great day. I hope you guys enjoy your Valentine's Day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.